master can do it. So but now anyway, still now nobody has come. No devotees are there, so online devotees are coming. So devotees are there. Hare Krishna. So 5, 10, 17. This is the discussion between Jada Bharat and King Raghugana. So please repeat after me. Naham Vishanke Suraraj Vajran.
Aham Vishanke Suraraj Vajra.
Natrakshashulannayamasya dandat.
Natrakshasulanyamasya dandat.
Nagnyarka Soma Nilavitta Pastra.
Nagnar
Shanke Brusham Brahma Kulavamana.
Shanke Visham Brahma Kulavamana.
Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajra.
Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajra.
Natrakshashulannayamasya dandat.
Natrakshasulanyamasya dandat.
Nagnyarka Soma Nilavitta Pastra.
Nagnarka Soma Nilavitta Pasha.
Shanke Brusham Brahma Kulavamana.
Shanke Visham Brahma Kulavamana.
Two devotees.
Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran. Natrakshasulanyamasya dandat. Nagnarka Soma Nilavitta Pasha. Shanke Visham Brahma Kulavamana.
One more devotee.
Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran.
Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran.
Natrakshasulanyamasya dandat.
Natrakshasulanyamasya dandat.
Nagnerka Soma Nilavitta Pasra.
Nagnarka Soma Nilavitta Pasha.
Shanke Visham Brahma Kulavamana.
Shanke Visham Brahma Kulavamana.
Somebody else can do translation.
My dear sir, I am not a friend of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor I am afraid of the serpentine piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraja, the superintendent of the death, nor I am afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuvera. If I am afraid of offending a Brahmana, I am very much afraid of this. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Rupa Goswami at the Dashokmet Gatha in prayer, he pointed out very clearly the seriousness of offending a Vaishnava. He compared the Vaishnava Aparadha to Hati Mata, a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters a garden, it spoils all the fruits and flowers. Similarly, if one offends a Vaishnava, he spoils all his spiritual assets. Offending a Brahmana is very dangerous, and this was known to Maharaj Raghugana. He therefore frankly admitted his fault. There are many dangerous things: thunderbolts, fire, Yamraja's punishment, the punishment of Lord Shiva's trident, and so forth. But none is considered as serious as offending a Brahmana like Jadabharata. Therefore, Maharaj Raghugana immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat before the lotus feet of the Brahmana Jadabharata, just to be excused.
Yeah. So who is reciting this verse? King Raghugana is reciting this verse. So we know that this Jada Bharat, he was wandering as if like a dull person, and a dull and dumb person, like Buddhu type of person. And so this King Raghugana, who was the king of Savira province. So he was going to hear the discourses given by Lord Kapila at Ganga Sagar. So he was going for a hearing Bhagavad Katha. So that time on the way, what happened that so they were carrying Rahugana was being carried by his palanquin in his palanquin by the servants. So some servant, one of the servant became too much tired and he couldn't carry things ahead. So they are looking for one because for palanquin 4 people are required, right? So only 3 were there. So then they are looking for a person who is little atta. And this Jada was going around, wandering. And they saw, oh, this person is very hatta, very nicely built. So let us call him. And they called him. They said, come help us. We are carrying the king. And Jada was like a he's completely sold out servant. Whoever was calling, whatever was given, he was ready to uh, do it. So, uh, so then he said that okay, he started carrying, but while carrying, the king was getting a lot of jerks. Why? This Jadavarat, he was not carrying straight. He was going, he was watching over the ants, and the ants want to put his feet on the ant. So he was going further, he was avoiding the ants. And in this way, the king, just imagine already. Already
Sorry.
already the palanquin is not a smooth, right? Smooth drive. But on the top of that, this Rahuguna was, this Jadabharat was not even walking straight also. So first time the king chastised, and then chastised the servants, and the other servant said, we are walking properly only. This person, new person who has come, he is not walking properly. And then Rahuguna chastised him also, Jadabharat also. But then Jadabharat continued his course. And then finally, King Rahugana became very, very upset. He started very heavily chastising. He is saying, oh, lean and thin man, it seems that you are very tired and you have no power. You are so nicely carrying the palanquin. You are putting your best endeavors. Like that, very sarcastically he was speaking. Although Jadabharat was not a lean and thin man, right? He was a very hatta man. Then if he would have been lean and thin, they would not have taken him only. But he was a very hatta man. Also, he was not a person who was tired. He was full of energy. So despite all this, very sarcastically, King Rahugana, he was chastising Jadabharat. He said, if you understand that if you don't carry my palanquin properly, what will be the consequences? I can punish you very severely, like that. And like that he chastised for some time. And then generally Jadabharat, he would never speak. He would just, in fact, when these dacoits, previously the dacoits, Durga worshippers, they caught him and they were about to cut off his neck. Still, he didn't speak a word to them. He didn't speak a single word to them. But then this is after a long time, maybe it was a month together, he had not spoken any single word. So now Jadabharat started speaking something. So what is the reason that Jadabharat started speaking? Out of compassion for others. But why not compassion for others?
Seeing the arrogance of the, you can say.
The dacoits were more arrogant.
Because he was king.
Because he was king, okay. You are quite.
And he was in the same dynasty
Okay.
of Bharat Maharaj.
Dynasty he was a king. That's a very correct. Or closer. And
he was on his way to some program. So
He
from
was-
that, it is understood that he is favorable to
Ah,
hear that
he's
message.
inclined.
Inclined.
He was going for hearing Bhagavad Katha. So that means he's inclined for spiritual instructions. And Abhinandan sir?
He was
Hmm.
designer from Sarong in last like previous like that King Rogana is a deer. The one who because of Bharat Maharaj का थाला मार.
तो उसको लगा अभी. So he gave him instructions. My God, that king! I didn't know this. That same deer, small deer, he became. Okay. But anyways, the reason our acharyas gives is certainly, as Premika's Pro is telling also, that he was a king, and the king is supposed to be spiritually realized. If the king is not spiritualized, then Yatha Raja, Yatha Praja, full society, whole community, all the kingdom will be atheistic. So this was first thing. And as second thing, he was telling Mahendra also that he was inclined. So he was inclined for spiritual realization, and that was the reason. So then when Rahugana, so the Jadabharat, he started speaking, and he said, "My dear king, uh, actually whatever you say, I accept, and I am ready to just accept it, tolerate it. But one thing I can tell you that today I am your servant, and you are a king. In next life, I may become a king, and you may become my servant, because the positions in this world are very, very temporary." In this way, he started speaking some spiritual knowledge, and then Rohgana, he heard, he was stunned actually. He thought this is just a one of the Shudra carrying some palanquin. He saw, hey, this person is speaking Brahma Vidya. Immediately got down, from his palanquin, immediately fell at the feet of Jadabharat and said, "Please forgive me. I mistook you. I didn't know that you are a spiritually realized personality." And he was thinking, "Oh, I am going so far. Here is only I am getting in between only. Itna dur ja. Here only I am getting a person whom I can hear from." And then he sat at his feet and asked a lot of questions, and Jadabharat gave very strong answers. The answers given by Jadabharat are very, very strong, very heavy. He was very strongly chastising also. Jadabharat was chastising king also. But then there was a nice conversation between king and this thing, Jadabharat, and that constitutes a good number of portion of fifth canto. So this is one of the verses Rahugana spoke when he realized his mistake of when he realized the mistake that the king is uh, the king realized that he has offended the great personality called Jadabharat. He is not just an ordinary person, but he is a very great person. So, so as Prabhupada has also mentioned, internet connection is unstable. So as Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport that it's called as Hati Mata or Mutta Hati Aparadh, mad elephant. So mad elephant enters the garden, it spoils all the fruits and flowers. So what are those fruits and flowers?
Good quality.
Good qualities. Okay, good qualities are fruits and flowers of devotional service. So we know this concept of Matta Hati Aparadh, right? So good qualities one has developed through devotional service, they get spoiled. What else? Enthusiasm one has in practicing devotional service, yeah, that gets thwarted. What else? Purity, certainly. Purity gets affected. Huh?
Determination.
Okay, all the good qualities, purity, determination, all those qualities get affected.
Desire to continue devotional service.
One's desire to practice devotional service gets hampered. Also, the devotional achievements of various projects, various success one has got in devotional service, that also gets affected. So even the opulences, even on a material level, opulences get affected.
Lifetime, longevity,
Lifestyle, longevity, wealth,
wealth,
all these things get affected also. Like
blessings, elevated
blessings,
planets.
all these things, material things also get affected. So like, we see Indra, he offended Brihaspati and he lost all his heavenly planets. Everything he lost. So it's not only a spiritual loss, even on a material level, there is a loss. Both ways there is a loss. So that's why Prabhupada says that he spoils all his spiritual assets. So these are all spiritual assets, good qualities, and all of you mentioned various qualities, and then desire to practice devotional service, and also spiritual assets are like, accomplishments in devotional service. Like, we have preached to so many people, or we have, track record of purity for many years, and not fallen to, any wrong things, So these are all, devotional achievements, or what you say, the Vaishnavas are pleased with us. So these are all the spiritual assets. He is like favorite of devotees. So these are all get spoiled by Vaishnava Aparadha. That's why Prabhupada says that offending a Brahmana is very dangerous. And Maharaj Rahugana knew it. So that's why he immediately admitted his fault and came down and started offering obeisances. And what he is saying, that I am not afraid of all these things, thunderbolt of Indra, fire, or Yamaraja's punishment, isn't it? We are all afraid of these things, isn't it? You may say thunderbolt of Indra, we are not afraid. No, we are not afraid of thunderbolt of Indra, but the glimpse of it is when there is a thunderbolt in the sky. If the thunderbolt in the sky falls on our head, isn't it? How much we will be afraid, right? So similarly, Yamaraj Danda, Yamadanda. So Yamadanda, we may not be afraid, but then there is a punishment by government. Are we not afraid of it? We are afraid of that also, right? So these are all small versions. Lord Shiva's trident. We may say Lord Shiva's trident, I am not afraid. But we know Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika. Are we not afraid? You know, if there is some calamity comes, suppose earthquake comes, are we afraid or not? Isn't it? Some nuclear weapons come, are we afraid or not? Isn't it? If some, if there is a, our boss is there, Adi Bhautika, are we afraid of us? He giving so much trouble, isn't it? Sometimes, or if there is, our own mind, we become afraid of that also. But Rahugana is telling, I am not afraid of all these things, but I am afraid of offending a Vaishnava. Vaishnava Aparadhis, I am very, very fearful, because all these things are tolerable, but the reactions of Vaishnava Aparadha are very difficult to tolerate. So that's why better, please, I seek forgiveness, I seek excuses, I seek excuse, not excuses, but I seek forgiveness from the great Vaishnava, and this way he sought forgiveness. So this is how King Rahugana, he has shown us the exemplary way how, if we happen to offend a Vaishnava, what should be first of all our attitude. Our attitude towards Vaishnava should be that we should be very afraid to offend him. That's what, we should be fearful to commit an offense. And also what action to be taken if we ignorantly offended a Vaishnava, or whatever, Ajnanat or Jnanat, Ashubham Yanmaya Kutam. So what action we should take is that we should fall at the feet of Vaishnava and seek forgiveness. So both ways Rahugana is teaching us. So in our life, there are two negative things we know. One is called as sins. Another is offenses, yeah, aparadha. So sin is called as dhuli lep. Dhuli lep means we are making some marks on dust. There is dust around, and we make some marks on that. So we can very easily remove it, right? Dust marks are removed. You can just take a cloth and wipe it. Suppose on the window there is some dust. So sometimes people write, right? Oh, on the car window is there, na front window. There is lot of dust. Sometimes people write oh on the dust, or anything they may write something, So you can wipe it with a cloth. or on the ground also some dust things are there. We make sometimes some things, and then uh, by natural course also it goes away. But aparadh is called as vajralep. Vajralep is like, on a rock, if there is a lining, cement, wet cement, you do something, then can we remove it? It's very difficult, very, very difficult to change, isn't it? So aparadhas are like that. It is very difficult to wash them off. So we know that there are four types of offenses. So first is dushrutotha. Actually, these are four types of anarthas, not offenses. These are anarthas. Four types of anarthas. One is dushrutotha anarthas. The anarthas which come because of sins. One has committed certain sinful activities. For example, any example anybody can give? Dushrutotha anartha.
It is coming because of what?
Sins, sinful life, sinful activities.
One, one who is so he will develop the harshness. And, he will not have that mercy for other living.
Perfect. Very good example. Somebody who is engaged in meat eating will develop cruelty. Will develop harshness of behavior, cruel behavior. Will not feel merciful towards others. Correct. This is very perfect example of Dushkrutotta Anartha. So Anartha is cruelty. And what activity led to it? Meat eating. Like that. One more, any more example?
Can it like person want to commit some sin, some activity, some sin, and he is not able to fulfill that, then he becomes angry towards some devotee.
Okay, desires, sinful desires, when they are frustrated, when it turns into anger. Yeah, that's anartha. Anger, anartha of anger is come in the form of unfulfilled desires. Yeah, correct. So like that, Similarly, lust is there. So one engages in lusty activities, sexual activities, lusty activities, then lust increases also. Right. So isn't it the desire? It is not that it is satisfied. It again further one wants to engage. So these are all dushrutotha anarthas. Second are sukrutotha anarthas. Sukrutotha anarthas means anarthas which come by pious activities. Actually, these are the specialities of only our Vaishnava literatures. बाहर के लोगों को ये पता ही नहीं कि एक सुकृति से भी अनर्था प्रोड्यूस होता है. So any examples you feel sukrutotha anarthas?
Because of one's
Past pious activities.
because
Kuch
of
anarthas.
one's past activities, one may get a very good work and he may perform good activities. There will be some social service because of which one may get proud and one may boast.
Okay, pride coming from a good high birth or richness or intelligence. Oh, I am so intelligent. I am so great. So I am so rich. So pride coming from that is a sukrutotha anartha. Like that. Any other example? Sukrutotha anartha.
By dissertation of very fine dissertation of verses.
One may become proud. Okay, yeah. So by some abilities and talents, one may become proud also. Like that. Okay. Any other example?
One engages into karmakand.
One engages into karmakand activities. So now to fulfill material desires. Now fulfilling material desires, one is engaging into karmakandi activities. And what happens when one engages in karmakandi activities, he gets some results and he feels, oh, I can do more. So his greed increases, isn't it? He's not satisfied with whatever he has got. He wants to get more and more material commodities. And in this way, that's a sukrutotha anartha. So he is not fulfilling his material desires to some sinful activities by gambling or by such ways. But through pious activities only he's getting pious activities only he's earning his wealth and all that. But that greed is increases still. I want more like that. So or I want to go to heaven, then Brahmaloka. you know. So that's a sukrutotha anartha, like that. So we see that many pious people, they go also to Lord, to where God or whatever, whomever can fulfill their desires, right? And they will say, ye do, ye chahiye, wo chahiye. So these are all sukrutotha anarthas, being greedy for it. Any other example? He himself was an example, Jada Bharat, in past life, as Bharat Maharaj.
Attachment.
Yeah, Bharat Maharaj, what was his sukrutotha anartha?
So much compassion.
He showed false compassion. False compassion showing, So just like somebody is crying, हमको मुझे दारू पीना है, दारू पीना है, दारू पीना है. से बेचारा रो रहा है, दे दो उसको दारू. Take it. So this is like false compassion. Or so this way, Jada Bharat, the Bharat Maharaj, he felt compassion which was not appropriate, inappropriate compassion he showed due to his pious results. He was very pious, very pious. That's why it led to the Sukrutotha Anartha. So wherein the Sukrutotha Anartha, basically one doesn't understand कि क्या limits है. What is the limit? So Bharat Maharaj, he crossed the limit when was saving the deer wrong activity? No. So when the limit was crossed,
And he was neglecting his food.
when he started neglecting his spiritual life. Okay, उसको बचा के रख दो उधर, दूसरा डियर के पास दे दो भाई, ले लो इसको, take one, बच्चा, like that. You could have stayed peacefully and continue your devotional service, but he gave priority to the deer over his devotional service also. So that is his sukrutotthana. Similarly, this desh prem, mata pita prem, and bandhu prem, relatives prem, and giving priority towards them over the devotional service, these are all sukrutotthanathas. Then third one is bhakti utthanarthas. Bhakti utthanarthas means anarthas which come because of devotional service. This is more shocking, right? That's why this kind of knowledge we will not get in any sampradaya actually. Every bona fide sampradaya you may get, but outside, they cannot tell only so refined. They say, "अरे ये व्यक्ति है, बहुत दानी है, करना इसलिए glorified no so much, बहुत दानशूर है, but it is anartha, isn't it? उन्होंने ये रखा क्या? उनका वादा रखा दुर्योधन के साथ, उनका मैत्री फ्रेंडशिप रखा. So there are sukrutotha anarthas basically. Of course, Karna had some dushkrutotha anarthas also, but sukrutotha anarthas also, like. So we see nobody so refined our spiritual philosophies, like that. So this. So there are like this, our Vishwamitra also. He became angry on Ramba, Menaka. These are also sukrutotha to some degree, because of course this is little mixed, but especially why he became angry on Menaka. First came Menaka, then Ramba. Ramba, why he became angry? Why are you destroying my tapasya? So it is a sukruti. उसके कारण गुस्सा हो गए. So it's a sukrutotha anartha.
पहले दुष्कृतोत्तर, बाद में
बाद में correct. Actually, Vishwamitra exhibited all six anarthas. If you see, first there was envy towards Vashishta, isn't it? Then lust, anger, then greed, and then ignorance. All these things came, So, of course, beginning was a pride of being a king, like that. So bhakti utthana, it may be shocking. अरे भक्ति से तो अनर्था जाना चाहिए. अनर्था आते कैसे बाबा? Bhakti should drive away the anarthas. It is bringing the anarthas. So what is that? Name, fame, glory, same old story. So bhakti uttanarthas are coming name, fame. Previously our name was nowhere, but nowadays we get name, fame. So like that, So it becomes a bhakti uttanartha. How many of you, your photo was printed on the newspaper for your something? Any one of you? your photo came in newspaper for your glorious activity. I think I am the only one. so, but in devotional service, when we come, so our photo comes on newsletter, right? Sometimes our lecture will come on YouTube, right? So this is how this is called, and we become attached to it. Hey, kitna followers are there? You know, so this is desire for name, fame. Previously we are not famous, but now in bhakti we become little famous also. How many of you had? Of course, these days people have followers also in their channels, various channels. So how many of you had followers before coming to Krishna consciousness? Only Nayan Prabhu had. So most of us didn't have any followers, right? But then after coming in bhakti, we get a lot of followers. We think, "Arey, my followers should increase." How many of people of you used to receive obeisances almost every day from people? Nowadays, devotees offer us obeisances, so we expect, respect. You know, how many of you were being glorified before? A lot, Thoda बहुत. On your birthday, how many of you received glories? Yeah, it is right. But then in bhakti, when we come, a lot of glorification happens. So we expect glorification for everything done. We say, हमने ये किया, अभी तक glorification कैसे नहीं आया? और we expect respect. अरे हम senior हो गए अभी, हमको respect नहीं दे रहे. Like that. अरे हमारा इतना accomplishment है, हमारा नाम किधर नहीं लिखा है? Like that. So these are bhakti utthanas. Also attachment to facilities. This maybe more applies to brahmacharis. To some degree, the facilities come, but majorly it applies to brahmacharis also. That although they are not earning any money, still they get laptop, mobile, they wander in car. So ideally, brahmachari means you should be walking around. Like you see Jain sadhus, how they go. So early morning we see the Jain sadhus are going. So that's a sadhu life actually. They're just walking barefoot. But brahmachari get digital watch also sometimes. What is that? Smart watch. So, smart watch, smartphone they get. So this attachment to these things, to get more and more facilities like that. अरे एक पैसा नहीं ला रहे मंदिर के लिए. We want more and more facilities, or desire to eat varieties of items, without having any control on it, and demanding ये item चाहिए, what item चाहिए, ये क्यों नहीं बनाया. These are all bhakti uttha and fourth one are aparadha uttha anarthas coming from various offenses. So there are 4 types of offenses. What are 4 types of offenses? Nam aparad, dham aparad, seva aparad, vaishnava aparad. Yeah, these are the 4 types of offenses. Nam aparad, dham aparad, vaishnava aparad, and dham aparad. Nam aparad, seva aparad, vaishnava aparad, and dham aparad. Actually, there is one more, but which is not so much discussed, but it is also somewhere there are mentions about that. 5th one is offense towards general living entities also. Cows, even general people also. Human beings also, if we offend them unnecessarily, criticize, chastise them unnecessarily. So this is 5th one, but about it not so much discussion doesn't happen, but this is also one of the offense. Just because somebody is karmi doesn't mean that we can keep offending them. Like that. Just because somebody is an animal doesn't mean we keep on beating them. So this is a offense towards we can say the jiva aparadh, the offense towards the general living entities. So like that. Then what are the results of these offenses? So by nama aparadh, our taste for chanting goes away, and chanting becomes mechanical. Chanting becomes mechanical, boring. So that's a result of nama aparadh. Of course, there are much more. I am just telling one of it. By seva aparadhas, again the in general taste for devotional service goes away. In general taste for devotional service goes away by seva aparadhas. By Vaishnava aparadh, oh, it is very serious. So by Vaishnava Aparadh, the desires for material enjoyments increase actually. And because Krishna personally plants the seed of material enjoyment in the heart of a person. Now, of course, as Prabhupada says in the purport, all one's spiritual assets are spoiled. By Dham Aparadhas, our attraction for Dham goes away. And the mercy one receives from the Dham, that goes away. And by offending jivas, living entities, heart becomes harder. Our heart becomes very hard. So as kind of cruelty develops and harshness develops. So these are the various things. But there are many more. Especially Vaishnava Aparadha, there are many more results of it. Nam Aparadha also, there are many more results of it. So now Vishwacharya Thakur in his Madhurya Kadambari, he explains that what stages these various offenses go, and in fact he is giving some percentage also. So I don't remember the whole thing, but there is Ekadesha Vartini, Bahudesha Vartini, like that is there. So in general, this Dushrutotha Anarthas go during Anartha Nivrutti time. So when we are referring to Anartha Nivrutti, that is basically reading of Dushrutotha Anarthas only. The Anarthas come because of sinful activity. They go during Anartha Nivrutti. Then the Sukrutotha Anartha goes somewhere around Asakti stage. Bhakti Uttha Anarthas goes at the stage of Bhava. But Aparadha Uttha Anarthas go only at the stage of Prema. जब तक कृष्ण प्रेम प्राप्त नहीं होता तब तक ये अनर्थस ट्रबल करते रहते हैं. अपराध उठता है. So that's why अपराध is more serious. So we see that दुष्कृत सबसे पहले कौन से आते हैं? दुष्कृत होता है, because that is like धूली लेप, वो जल्दी चले जाते हैं. और सुकृतोत्थ और डीप रहते. Why it is like that? Why do you feel that सुकृतोत्थ अनर्थस go later on? ये इसमें ऐसा क्यों है कि क्या लॉजिक क्या है? Who can say what is the logic? ये अनर्था पहले जाता है, दूसरा बाद में जाता है. Of course we are talking about eradicating even the trace of anartha, bahudesha vartini. So but why it is like that? Means certain anarthas go during previous stages also, like aparadutta bhi ऐसा नहीं कि सारे अनर्था प्रेम स्टेज पे ही जाते. Before also certain anarthas go, but fully cleaned of all aparadutta anartha, that happens at prema stage only.
These qualities are the inspiration for the implement to continue those things. Like suppose Sukriti Nata. So some good qualities which will hang him in those.
Okay, to keep him attached to devotional service somehow or other. But aparadutta ka kya problem hai? The reason why this is like that, because there is an increased degree of ignorance. And which is almost like everybody can understand, I did sinful activity. People immediately accept. Ye kharab hai, this is bad. Even a person knows who is smoking, oh, this is not good. Many people who are drinking, they also understand, oh, this is not good. Similarly, we know that lust is bad. We know that anger is bad. We know greed is bad. Ignorance is bad. So it is quite well known. But when it comes to pious activities, person thinks, what's the problem? Like, for a person who belong to PETA, for them, Bharat Maharaj, first time they'll say, you did right. PETA, PETA are those who take care of pets or animals in general, animal protection community, society. So if you tell them this Bharat Maharaj past time, they'll say, yeah, he was a great man. He did so good. He saved this, and that's what, he gave ultra affection. That's very good, like that. Or generally people consider, you see these days saintly people, they had politicians also. You must have done all kinds of nonsense activities, especially past politicians. I don't want to quote the names, but you'll see among the saintly people they'll put, and they put some politicians also in that category. Like they'll put Bhagwan Buddha, Bhagwan Mahavir, suppose, and then Guru Nanak. Uske samne politicians who are not at all saintly. These are all saintly people. Politicians kahan se saintly aa gaye? but just because they fought for the freedom of India, they are also considered to be saint. Like that. So these are all because this is very difficult to understand. Only people with little refined intelligence. We see maximum, many people know about what is bad. These dushkrutis are bad. But these sukrutis are bad. How very less people know. Isn't it? Then bhakti se bhi anartha aa sakte hain. Iska to, that is very difficult to know. And aparadhas are also like that. Aparadhas means people, the aparadh is such a severe thing that person doesn't even think that I am committing some offense. He feels I am right. That ignorance is very strong when committing aparadh. So that way, that's why they go, that deep rooted ignorance is there in every aspect. And that's why they go latter stage. Things are very deep and deep and deep. Aparadh stage though, people, they even don't feel sometimes, I am committing any offense, isn't it? Like a devotee is going, and some people start teasing them. They feel, no, let's have a fun. We are just having a fun. What's the problem? Or sometimes they say, oh, Krishna, you see, he was a lusty guy. He just, had so many affairs. So they feel, we are just stating a fact. No, it's not a fact. You are offending Krishna. You are offending devotee, isn't it? And even if you try to convince them, they will fight against it. So that's a aparadh. Aparadh it goes very deep level. It goes on a very very deep level. People try to justify. Like when they go to dham, they say, "Kya ganda hai, sab bekar." So, or one day we were traveling. I've spoken it many times actually. We were traveling to this Ananta Padmanabh temple. Or Adi Keshav temple, I think so. There is Payaswini is where? Adi Keshav temple. We are traveling there in one of the South India yattras. I think only he was there, nobody else mostly. That was historical South India yatra. So we are traveling and we were going by the bus and down we saw Payaswini river. One devotee shouted, "Ee, I will never take bath here." I said, what are you talking? Okay, she may be looking little dirty, but if you see, Bhagavatam is full with glorification of Payaswini river and all. One of the most holy rivers, Payaswini river is glorified for. Holy rivers का नाम सुनो, उसमें Payaswini river है. वो river को क्या affect होने वाला है? आप बात नहीं लेने से आपको affect होगा. How can you just like that criticize the river? You may feel bad that how human beings are so cruel that they are not maintaining the river properly, but you are criticizing the river only. So it's a aparadh actually. So now, if a person is not a devotee, especially, or he is not an advanced devotee, he is a neophyte, he will say, "गलत क्या बोला? जो दिख रहा है बोल रहा हूँ ना." So इसमें गलत क्या है? जो दिख रहा है वो बोल रहे. गंदा है तो गंदा है बोल रहा हूँ. क्या है? इधर कचरा है तो कचरा है बोल रहा हूँ. So what's the wrong? What's the wrong about it?
कई बार चीजें जो दिखती है वो वैसी होती नहीं है, मतलब ग्रॉसली दिखती है लेकिन सटली वो कुछ और होती है.
He is seeing from a very gross point of view. He doesn't have a deeper vision. So Prabhupada says that even if you see the stool flowing in Yamuna river, you can, make the stool flow away, still do Achman there. Take bath over there. So that is a spiritual vision, but he's seeing so much from a superficial point of view, so much from an external point of view. Like that. So these are all, so there are all various aparadhas, like that. Okay, question.
Today you mentioned these aparadhas as you mentioned
These are anarthas.
So जैसे आगे जा रहे हैं, like ignorance is increasing like that.
Kind of, yeah.
But even
Person is, means they are not so easily understood to be wrong. Person cannot very easily understand that I am doing something wrong. ऐसा sin कर दे तो व्यक्ति को समझ में आ जाता है मैं गलत कर रहा हूँ. So there are people who are so dull that they don't understand. So they think, what is the problem in smoking? Like foreign people, what is the problem in meat eating? This, it's a nice thing. It's our food. They said, if you don't eat them, then the animals unnecessary population will increase. So it's our natural food, they say. So they are too much in ignorance. but then there are certain people, at least some kind of piety जिनमें उनको समझ में आता है ये गलत. इंडिया many times people say when we give them भगवत गीता, नहीं नहीं स्वामी जी हमने अभी मांस खाया है हम नहीं करेंगे, तो उतना तो उनको थोड़ा सेंस है कि ये गलत कर रहे हैं हम. बट ये सुकृतोत्थ भक्तियोत्थ अपराधोत्थ में समझ में नहीं आता कि गलत कर रहे हैं. सुकृतोत्थ में तो लोगों को लगता है कि हाँ सही करें, सही है, सही है, सही है. अपराधोत्थ में तो लोग लगते हैं कि नहीं ऐसा ही है, आप गलत है. Person argues with about it. Like, that's why they are very deeply rooted. And of course, another aspect is also that you can say the reactions which come are very vast, proportionate. The person is put into ignorance to that extent also. Like Bhakti Uttanartha ka, sometimes people justify. मैं सीनियर हूँ, हमको अपना कार चाहिए, वो सीनियर को कार देती है, हमको कैसे कार नहीं? But justifies it like that. And अपराध में भी बहुत justification करते हैं. नहीं हम सब सही है. जैसे धाम का एग्जांपल बताया ना, सही है जो दिख रहा है बोल रहे हैं ना, थोड़ी गलत बोल रहे हैं. So there is a problem of mentality like that. So these are a subtler, you can say. These anarthas are becoming subtler and subtler. That's why they are.
So, Prabhuji, but then this this is a level of anartha, subtle level of anartha. Then person is also means that these anarthas are coming when person is also becomes subtle and subtle more now. Means so then वो समझ में नहीं, because now person when he
Anarthas are coming when person becomes subtle.
नहीं advance sorry advance नहीं
He
मतलब
may realize them when he becomes advanced, but it is not that only for advanced people these anarthas are applicable. If a karmi, poor karmi goes to Vrindavan and he criticizes Vrindavan, he will also, that is also considered aparadutta anartha.
okay.
Or if he offends a Vaishnava, it's not that only a devotee offends a Vaishnava, that is aparad, and non-devotee can offend a Vaishnava and that is all right. No, he will also get punishment. He also gets, that's also aparad, like that. Like these Muslims, they killed some devotees in Bangladesh, right? Or this Russia, they killed some devotees in Ukraine recently. So don't think that they will get scot-free. They will also get severe reactions for it. So Vaishnava Aparadh is not amongst devotees only. Outside people also do a lot of Vaishnava Aparadh, in fact. They do a lot of Vaishnava Aparadhas also. And that's the reason they don't get attracted to devotional service. A lot of offensive mentalities. So
For outsiders, it may be they are in ignorance, because of that they are committing. When person become devotee, so
devotees also have a lot of ignorance.
when he commit that aprodottam,
That's all ignorance. Do you think we don't have ignorance?
yeah, we have, but then वो जो कर रहे हैं,
Better than them, maybe. They are in full ignorance. We are partially, probably, because they don't know also they are committing this wrong activity. And devotees may know it. So, but in fact, root cause of all sin is ignorance only. So this is a devotee saying, "Chi, kitni gandi river hai." Is it not an ignorance? It is little subtler level of ignorance. Wherein he is not understanding the spiritual value, saying from a material point of view. That's what. So that's why, generally we should not take new boys to Vrindavan Dham very easily. That's what was at least earlier notion. Aajkal notions badal rahe. But usually because Vrindavan Dham offenses are very much counted very seriously. And new boys, they don't have proper vision towards things. क्या गटर है, क्या चीतू, सब चीतू करते रहो, ये सब चीतू. So dirty, they will say. So it is said that in the home of those where lotus feet of Vaishnava has not arrived, those homes are like trees having poisonous snakes. Right? You read that? So
yesterday or day before yesterday we had heard Prabhupada lecture.
Prabhupada lecture. So that's what, the homes where Vaishnavas don't come. So So amongst all these 4 types of offenses and 4 types of anartha, the most severe one is Vaishnava Aparadha. Amongst all these means Sukrutotha, Dushkrutotha, Bhakti Uttha, Aparadha Uttha, उसमें से भी अपराध उत्तर के 4 टाइप उसमें से सबसे सीवियर है वैष्णव अपराध. So so that's how actually Vaishnavas are considered to be the most benefactors of the living entities. In fact, the earth is glorified or decorated with Vaishnavas present on it. That's the glory of the earth planet, that Vaishnavas are present. The lotus feet of Vaishnavas are present. Of course, when the lotus feet of Krishna is personally present, they are the biggest glory. The earth feels very happy. All the demigods feel very happy. So in this way, so that's why in India also we know that, and that's why where the lotus feet of Vaishnavas arrive, those homes are considered to be like Tirtha. That home only becomes Tirtha. So that's why we see that many of Prabhupada disciples, they are very eager. Oh, you met Prabhupada. Oh, Prabhupada came to your home. They were very eager to go to that place, isn't it? Oh, he met Prabhupada. Oh, his home Prabhupada has gone. Because Prabhupada is a walking Tirtha. So wherever he goes, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. Where he goes, that place becomes converted into Tirtha, isn't it? So in this way, these holy places actually is not something stereotyped only holy places. Wherever the pure devotees go, Vaishnavas go, that becomes holy. So we see that this again understanding is so inherent there in India that people call devotees to their home. They would like to call the sadhus at their home. We see that Srila Prabhupada's father, every day he would receive some saintly persons. And in fact, because of that, Prabhupada got little aversion for sadhus, because he saw that they are not proper sadhus. And it is not that Gaur Mohan Day didn't know that some of the sadhus were smoking also. Some sadhus they were not genuine sadhus. But Gaur Mohan Day was very humble, and he would invite everybody, and he would feed them prasad. And when they are happy, what he would say? Please bless my son that he becomes the devotee of Radharani. Like that he would say. And we see similarly Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So we see Gaur Mohan Day was very, very liberal. He would call all, whereas Prabhupada was very very selective, because he knew many sadhus. There was one sadhu staying near Prabhupada. He was wearing saffron. So whole day he would wear saffron and go and beg everywhere. And Raat ko aake, he had a family also. He had a wife and child and all that also. But daytime, what do? You go and beg. You wear a saffron dress, घर में आके saffron change करके shirt pant पहन देते. So Prabhupada knew all this. That's why he was little averse towards sadhus and all that. That's why when there was a time to meet Bhakti Thakur, he was not very ready. He said, I know all these sadhus, don't keep taking me. He was very reluctant. Same way Bhakti Thakur also. He was very liberal. He was all sadhus he was respecting. He used to offer obeisances. So there was one Babaji. So I believe it is about Radharaman Babaji only. As far as I know, if you all know differently, you correct me. Actually, sometimes our devotees are too innocent. In Jagannath Puri, they go, they offer obeisances everywhere. But तो कभी-कभी वो हरिदास ठाकुर की समाधि में जाते हैं, उसके बाजू में वो राधा रमन बाबा जी का समाधि, डिवोटीज आके उधर भी obeisances ऑफर करते हैं. So when I observed that, I said maybe they are followers of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So when he was in the beginning, they had a very good friendship, Bhakti Vinod Thakur and him. But later on, they realized that he is propagating bogus, that Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Ram Shri Radhe Govinda. So neophyte will feel, अरे अच्छा मंत्र है, चैतन्य महाप्रभु का नाम लेता है. This is a bogus mantra. So never, nowhere recommended. He is a deviant and sahajiya. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur would offer obeisances, to him also, and he would say Vaishnava and Vansha Kalpataru. Bhakti Vinod Thakur would not. So even in childhood, Bhakti Vinod Thakur would not offer obeisances. And then this Radharaman Baba became very angry one day, and he said to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Kedar Babu, your son doesn't offer me obeisances. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, my son doesn't offer obeisances to Sahajiyas.
Hare Krishna.
So, he offered obeisances. Bhakti Vinod Thakur himself is offering obeisances, but he is not offering. So the point is what? How we came to this point? ये पॉइंट पे कैसे आ गए?
वैष्णव
तीर्थ तीर्थ से इधर कैसे आ गए? Basically, devotees had the great habit. In India, we see that this culture is very prominent. So even Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, he would invite a lot of saintly people he would respect, irrespective of whether they are genuine or bogus or whatever. Prabhupada's father also. So we see that this is there inherently in India, that people have respect for sadhus, saintly people, because they know this philosophy more or less, that okay, saintly person is there, call him, give him something, because they understand that, actually when the saintly person comes home, you should read this Nanda Maharaja's section wherein he's telling that saintly persons are simply wandering, not for personal cause. They only wander home to home simply to purify their homes, So like that they say. So that's how, where the saintly people are not given entry. Hey, chalo, kuch nahi hai idhar. Like that. When saintly person are said like that, then that place becomes like a trees having snakes. The snakes of material desires and offenses will bite the person regularly. Whereas when the saintly person goes to some place, he simply purifies. That's why we see Marathi also people say, आमच्या घराला जरा पाय लागू द्या तुमचे. Like people say, because they know the importance that okay, some saintly person comes, knowingly, unknowingly, many offenses, sins have committed, saintly person, he dissolves them, absolves them. That's why people are very eager. Please come to our home, please come to our home. They want to call, like that. Tukaram Maharaj also says that. Sadhu Santo Iti Ghara, Siddhi Vadi Dasya. So that's what, and people are very eager. Sometimes they'll call the office also. They'll make the person sit on the chair also. Our chair pe baithiye. They have that innocent feel. Actually, that is a fact also, that saintly persons are wandering like that for the purpose of welfare of the people. So once upon a time, myself and one of my senior authority, we both were going to for Balaji temple, purchasing some dress. So one shop in Lakshmi Road only, we went to one shop, and when we went, he insulted us like anything. Hey, kuch nahi hai, chalo, niklo idhar se, like that he said to us. So we are feeling little pained that aisa bol diya. It is not that we are going to beg him something. We are purchasing the sari, and our sari cost is minimum 10,000 one sari. So then that senior devotee told, oh, he is not fortunate enough to give sari to the Lord. Let him go. It is his misfortune. Another shop we went, they said, स्वामी जी आइए आइए बैठिए बैठिए, अरे हमारी कुर्सी पे बैठिए, अरे आप आ गए, हमारा दुकान पवित्र हो गया. And because of his good attitude, we purchased also sari from him. Like that. You see that clear difference. Like trees having poisonous snakes, one person, you see, he was so envious. So immediately he, of course, before going, we told actually we didn't come for begging. We were wanting to purchase some sari for our Balaji. He said, I said, nahi, abhi aapko nahi aana hai. The way you treated us in the beginning, we don't want to come now. You have lost the opportunity. Other devotee, that person was good oriented. So we see typically. So that person got the opportunity to serve Balaji. So he gave some concession on saris for Balaji. So that became his devotional service. Whereas this first person, he lost the opportunity. He lost the opportunity like that. So that's why we know, in fact, Krishna, he values devotees so much. What he says that, Naham Tishthavi Vaikunthe, Yoginam Hridayeshu Yatra Gayanti Madbhakta Tatra Tishtami Narada. That's what Krishna loves the devotees so much. He personally wants to reside where devotees are coming together and singing his glorious chanting, like that. That's where Krishna resides. That's the place of Lord's residence. So Krishna is where the devotees are there. If devotees are not there, there is no Krishna there. One sense we can see. So that's why, as a devotees, we have to be careful about offending Vaishnavas. It's a very important thing that a Vaishnavas devotee should be careful. In fact, if we offend some devotees, Vaishnavas, maybe our passion is satisfied, but we don't get Krishna. We will not get Krishna. Our passion will be satisfied. We want to prove that how he's wrong. We want to chastise him for his wrong act. That is satisfied. But we won't get Krishna. So anger, anger starts from passion, ends in ignorance. Right? Krodha is called as Kamanuja. Kamanuja means Kam is lust. Anuja means younger brother. So Krodha is younger brother of lust. Kamat Krodho Vijayate, isn't it? So that's why one should not become angry on the Vaishnavas. So Srila Prabhupada, he said in one letter to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, Prabhupada said that in the rendering service to Krishna and his representatives, like spiritual master, we should always maintain a fearful attitude. What we say, right? Should we be fearful of Vaishnavas? So Prabhupada qualifies it like that is careful attention. Doesn't mean that we should run away from the devotees, like that, but we should maintain a careful attention. We should be fearful of not the devotees, but fearful of offending the devotees. We should not be fearful of devotees, but we should be fearful of offending the devotees, isn't it? So if we are fearful of devotees only, then what will happen?
Will not advance.
We will not advance because we will not take their association. But if we are fearful of offending Vaishnava, then we'll be saved from Aparadhas, like that. So that's what here Rahugana, he is telling, I am so fearful of offending a Vaishnava. So that's why it is said that we should deal with Vaishnavas. Vaishnava is also one of the fires, right? Guru, deities, and Vaishnavas, these are all like fire. So we should not see them materially. We have to know that a person. It is said that somebody who wears a Vishnu Urdhva Pundra Tilak, such a person is very dear to Vishnu. Can you imagine somebody just putting a Urdhva Pundra Tilak? This is Urdhva Pundra, you know, na?
Yes.
Our Tilak is called a Urdhva Pundra Tilak. You don't know this? Urdhva Pundra. This Tilak is called a Urdhva Pundra Tilak. Whereas Shaivites, what they put is called a Vibhuti Tilak. 3 lines. This is called a Urdhva Pundra. This is a Vaishnava Tilak. So that is also Urdhva Pundra. Similar only, like us, almost similar. So it is said that somebody who is wearing tilak, it is like wearing a Vishnu Kavacha on his body. So actually, if you see that 6th canto of Bhagavatam, the Kavacha, Vishnu Kavacha is there, Narayana Kavacha. So what is that? Basically invoking the various forms of Lord on our various bodily parts. So when we are putting tilak, that's what we are doing also, right? Or that we are chanting those things sometimes. So वो कवच नहीं हो गया. Kavach means we have to chant Om Keshavaya Namaha, Narayanaaya Namaha, Madhava. Sometimes devotees think only in voice we should wear tilak, and in home there is no need of wearing tilak. But it's up to you whether you want kavach or not. Right? So we can wear, especially if our parents are favorable, then we can wear tilak. Those parents are not favorable, you can wear water tilak. Don't wear a permanently tilak. For me, brahmacharis, it's okay only. They know it. Those who are not, those whose parents are not favorable or something, you can wear a water. With a water, you can put a tilak on the body. That is possible. Similarly, while going to college or company, we may not be able to wear tilak, but we should put a water tilak. Our counselor those days would chastise us. Hey, you are going without a tilak, you should not feel happy. You should feel, my God, you should feel very afraid. Maya may attack me anytime. So at least put a water tilak. So similarly in the homes, householder devotees, they should also put tilak. So, and in fact, it is said that whoever is, wearing such a tilak or who is a Vaishnava, such a person, nobody can adversely affect such a Vaishnava who is wearing 12 tilaks. So, so that's why we have to know that Vaishnava means we have to see that Lord Vishnu is personally protecting him. Like that. So if we try to interfere with it, like Ambarish Maharaj, for his exalted devotional service, Krishna gifted him Sudarshan Chakra. The Sudarshan Chakra were always at the service of Ambarish Maharaj to protect him. And that's why as soon as Durvasa Muni offended, so Ambarish Maharaj immediately Sudarshan Chakra. Ambarish Maharaj didn't have to tell him that come, he's offending me. Nothing. Ambarish Maharaj in fact did nothing. He never wanted also that he should be like that harassed. Sudarshan Chakra automatically came. And he started. And those purports Prabhupada writes, it was not only for Ambarish Maharaj, it is for everyone actually. Supreme Lord, his Sudarshan Chakra is there, with devotees always protecting them, like that. So that's why Vaishnava Aparadha is like trying to throw burning coal on others. Actually, it will burn our own hand, isn't it? That's what Vaishnava Aparadha is. So His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would say that one who gives up blasphemy of Nama Parayan Sadhu, that is one who has taken the shelter of holy name, the holy name quickly bestows its mercy. One who gives up this offending Vaishnavas, holy name quickly bestows his mercy. Quickly he receives the mercy of holy names. So that's why Vaishnava Aparadha is Bruhad Aparadha. Why? Because there also that section, he says that Lord Vishnu says to Durvasa Muni, actually these Vaishnavas, they are doing sacrificing so much for me. How can I be away from them? He says. They have given up everything for me. They have given up meat eating, which they may used to do, like sometimes they used to like eating meat. They have given up that for me. They have given up, they have given up their early morning sleep sometimes, isn't it? They have given up some of their friends who are karmis, atheistic. Sometimes they have given up other types of non-prasadam food items. They used to like eating on vada pav stall. They have given up engagement into sexual activities, illicit sexual activities. They have given up whatever, some of them smoking, drinking also. They have given up many bad qualities. So Vaishnavas are sacrificing so much for me. He says that, so how can I ever remain away from them? I cannot be separated from them at all because I am so attached. It's very natural, no? Just imagine some person sacrifices a lot of things for you. Don't you become attached to him? Isn't it? Any person who sacrifices some things for us, we immediately become attached. So that's what Lord Narayana also, it's very natural. Devotees sacrifice so much for him. So they become very dear to Lord Narayana. Like that. So that's why we have to know that we should not offend such Vaishnavas. Uh, in fact, devotees sometimes they risk their lives also, like these two devotees from Ukraine. Practically they risk their lives and they sacrificed their life for the service of Krishna. What was the need? They could have gone to some hideout. They would have gone to other country and hid themselves and kept themselves safe. 99% people will take that option only, right? But they were the daredevil people who were going on the areas, and such a compassion, simply amazing actually. They are ready to sacrifice, risk their life to give prasadam to the war affected people and all that, isn't it? So that is how, how can we cannot imagine what Krishna will give them, what mercy Krishna will give to such a devotees, isn't it? So certainly we should be careful of sin, but we should be more careful of offenses, like that. So it's like, sins are like if you are going on the car, so there is sometimes water on the front of the car, right? Sins are like that. So what will happen by that? Speed will reduce. We cannot go fast, right? And it can be wiped out also. But offense is like, accident only, or quarreling between the driver, quarreling between the driver and the passenger only. So much quarrel, they're quarreling, they want to beat each other. Car is only stopped. So by sins, our vehicle of devotional service goes slow, but by offenses, sometimes it gets stopped only. It doesn't go on the ahead. Whereas the sins, it slows down. Progress will happen slowly, but by car, the progress may stop at all, like that. Or by offenses, the progress may stop at all. So that's why we have to see that we should see all the devotees as sons of Krishna, and they are very dear to Krishna, like that. So there is one verse you can find out. Narakasya sakha kaschit, Bhagavatam. Okay, 1067 to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter number 67.
67.
Chapter number 67. Brahma slays, Balramji slays Dvida gorilla.
Verse number 2. नरकस्य सखा कश्चित् द्विविधो
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Narakasya Sakha Kaschet.
Naragasya Sakha Kaschet
Dvido Nama Vanaraha.
Dvido Nama Vanaraha
Sugriva Sachiva Sotha.
Sugriva Sachiva Sotha
Brata Maindasya Viryavan.
Brata Maindasya Viryavan.
Please, somebody can read.
Sri Sukadev Goswami said, there was an ape named Dvida who was a friend of Narakasura. This powerful Dvida, the brother of Mainda, had been instructed by King Sugriva. Srila Jiva Goswami points out some interesting facts about the ape Dvivida. Although Dvivida was an associate of Lord Ramachandra, he later became corrupted by bad association with the demon Naraka. As stated here, Narakasya Sakha. This bad association was the reaction for an offense Dvivida had committed when, being proud of his strength, he disrespected Lord Ramchandra's brother Lakshmana and others. Those who worship Lord Ramchandra sometimes chant hymns addressed to Mainda and Dvivida, who are attendant deities of the Lord. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Mainda and Dvivida mentioned in this verse are empowered expansions of these deities who are residents of Lord Ramchandra's Kunta's domain. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur concurs with Srila Jiva Goswami's view that Dvivida was ruined by bad association, which was a punishment for his having disrespected Shriman Lakshman. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti states, however, that the Mainda and Dvivida mentioned here are actually the eternally liberated devotees addressed as the attendant deities during the worship of the Lord Ramchandra. The Lord arranged their degradation, he says, to show the evil of the bad association that result from offending a great personalities. Thus, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti compares the fall of Dvivida and Mainda to that of Jay and Vijay.
So this Dvivida was one of the associate of Lord Ram. To him, the prayers are also offered. But then what happened? He disrespected Lakshman. So that was an aparadh. And because another thing he did was he fell into bad association of. So aparadh led to attraction towards bad association. He offended Lakshmana. He offended the Supreme Lord only, Lakshmana. Then he got attracted to Narakasura, who is a bad association. And now he got corrupted. He became a demon. Can you imagine? A great associate of the Lord became a demon because of bad association. So like that. So what is the reason for aparadhas? Major reason is bad association. Satsanga tyag, Ai Vaishnavachar, Sri Sangi Eka Sadhu, Krishna Bhakta R. So असत संग त्याग वैष्णव का क्या बिहेवियर रहना चाहिए? असत लोगों का संग त्यागना चाहिए. Bad association makes us do offenses towards Vaishnavas. So that's why we should be very careful of bad association. So one of the another reasons for Vaishnava aparadha is, one reason is bad association. This is the prominent reason. Bad association. Another reason is so bad association is the association of Mayavadis or some other people, atheistic people, envious people. Their association is the bad association. So, and then another reason is impersonalistic tendencies. Impersonalistic tendencies means behaviorally impersonal in behavior. Like for example, somebody is offering you obeisances and we just neglect it. This is impersonal behavior, right? Or somebody is greeting us, we don't greet them at all. This is kind of impersonal behavior. Huh? Not reciprocating, not greeting. These are all impersonal. There are many different symptoms of impersonal. It's a vast topic, but our time is less. Otherwise, we could have discussed impersonal behavior. Sometimes amongst the devotees also we have impersonal behavior, like that. Not greeting the devotees, not respecting them, like that. Not offering obeisances to them, like that. So these are all varieties of impersonal behavior. And there are many. I don't want to get into it because it will become. We want to just complete this topic now. So sometimes this impersonal behavior also comes because of pride, which comes from our austerities. That also leads to impersonal behavior. अरे हम बहुत बड़े हैं, हमको क्या दूसरों का जरूरत है? So that's why Prabhupada used to quote, आराधितो यदि हरि तपसा ततः किम, नाराधितो यदि हरि तपसा ततः किम, अंतर बहिर यदि हरि तपसा ततः किम, नांतर बहिर यदि हरि तपसा ततः किम. Means if you worship Lord Hari, what is the need of any tapasya? That's the biggest tapasya. If you don't worship Hari, what is the use of tapasya? Right? What is the tapasya going to come for your use? Similarly, antar bahir yadi Hari, if Lord is within your heart and outside, you are able to see heart within heart and outside also. What is the need of any tapasya? Nantar bahir yadi Hari, if you can't see the Lord inside outside, then what is the use of your tapasya? So this verse is addressed to tapasvis. That basically because of tapasya, a person becomes very puffed up and he thinks, immediately one demeans others, one considers others to be insignificant, and that is also leading to Vaishnava aparadhas sometimes. So this classic example of that is this Rupa Kaviraj, who offended Krishna Priya Thakurani, right? She was chanting and he considered her to be very insignificant. Or Devananda Pandit, who offended Srivas Thakur. So they neglected them, thinking that, oh, these are all useless people. We are so great, hum bade hai, ye sab chote hai, like that. So, like that. So sometimes, people, one person asked Prabhupada also, Swamiji, we are all vegetarians. Because even monkey is vegetarian. You don't become proud of being vegetarian also. So we are Krishnitarians. We are not just vegetarians. Sometimes people become very proud. This pride leads to impersonal behavior generally, and bad association. So that in turn leads to offenses. And second thing which leads to offenses is bad association, like that. So that's why a devotee. We see that another effect of envious personalities. What is the effect of a offensive nature is what one doesn't get mercy. Generally, if devotees would like to preach to whom, give mercy to whom, or innocent people, like that. Balisheshu, isn't it? Balisha means innocent. Prema Maitri Kupa Ikshana. Ishvara Tadadineshu, Balisheshu, Rishatsu Saha. So devotee, how he deals with Ishvara? Prema. Adhineshu means devotees. Maitri. Then Balishe means innocent. Krupa. And envious, Upeksha. Neglect. So if one becomes Vaishnava Aparadhi, if one becomes envious towards Vaishnavas, what happens? Devotees neglect such a person. So he doesn't receive mercy. Devotee is neglected by the devotee. But somebody is innocent, generally devotees will approach him and try to preach to him, give him some mercy. Like that. Like Smartha Brahmanas, many times they are very envious. Devotees just say, they don't want to give mercy to them. So that's why we should not become offensive towards the devotees. We should try to worship devotees, serve devotees, please devotees, love devotees, care for the devotees. These things we should do with the devotees, and we should avoid offending Vaishnavas, because Krishna becomes ultimately displeased like that. Okay, so we are already quite over time, so we stop here. Thank you very much. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki
Yeah.
jai.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Prabhu. Thank you all the devotees for coming.
Thank you, Proji. Hare Krishna.
Please forgive me if I have offended all of you anytime, knowingly, unknowingly. Like that. Very good. Neeraj Bose, you are still in India, or you went?